to the LTG episode number. What are we up to? 214 was that again?
Yup.
214. Hello, my name is Sean Wilburn.
And I'm Tony Hannity's.
And we are here to talk about technology of the week. Now, before we go on too further, let me readjust this one quick level that I did not catch sooner than later, because that is what we are. We are professionals here, right, Tony? Yeah, right.
We do bask in the light of professionalism. We do.
Awesome. All right, so let me get my last little level here going, and after this, we'll get started. We'll give you information on how to reach us, and hopefully, there we go. Give me a little bit boost in there, and you guys hopefully hear me a little bit better now.
Just a tad.
Hey, just a tad is a start, right? Okay, here we go, and a little bit more level there.
That's good. That's good.
There we go. All right, so this is the LTG show, part of the website lazytechguys.com. Let me give you some information to reach us. Comments at lazytechguys.com is our email. You can give us a call at area code 707-722-5299. Now, if you happen to be catching this on the Google networks, this is a live broadcast. We're using this on Google Hangout, so if you happen to see us, our Q&A is open, and we would love to have you go and ask us questions and join in the conversations that we'd have, and you never know. We'll definitely address what you have and any kind of questions like that. But it has been a long time since we've recorded. The holidays have come and gone, and
not gone yet completely. Just a few holidays.
Yeah, let's start. Tony, how are you doing, man?
I am phenomenal. It is great to be back on the mic alongside with you remotely, and I'm very excited for this show. For the past few weeks, a lot's happened. Professionally, personally. We've got a few reviews on the website as well as our YouTube channel. The Galaxy Note 4 reviews up there, as well as a BAC track. Or actually, I was corrected by the company. It's actually called Backtrack, not BAC track. But it measures your level of blood alcohol content level. With your mobile phone. So if you're an avid drinker and driver and you want to not be pulled over, this is kind of a cool thing, so go check that out. I actually just got this in the mail a few days ago, and this, if you haven't seen this is Google Cardboard.
What?
Yeah, so Google Cardboard was originally unveiled as a giveaway at Google I/O, and then you could buy it from third-party companies for like $25-$30. I think Dodo Case was doing it for $25. And Volvo, the car manufacturer, they have their own that you can. They even have their logo, if you see that. So they have their own, and on the inside here, next to the lenses, it says, "Welcome to Volvo Reality." And the whole idea is that you order this from them for free from their website, and they mail it to you. Hopefully, they have a few left, and then they coax you into downloading the Volvo Reality app, which gives you a virtual reality test drive of their new vehicle, which is an SUV. So I downloaded the test drive app, and it's fine, it's cool. But really, I wanted to take a look at some of the other Google Cardboard apps. And before actually using this, and we're going to talk about VR later on, I was obviously a little skeptical, and I've actually personally never used the newer versions of Oculus Rift. I used the first version, and it was iffy. It was okay. Head tracking was an issue. This is really it's awesome because it's so simple. It's so stupidly simple. If you haven't seen. This comes in a flat box, and then you build it yourself. It has like little very quick instructions on how to build it yourself. It's if I can do it, you can do it. And then you Velcro your phone in here, and then you look through these two lenses, and you activate the respective application. And there's a lot that have come out. And actually, either today or yesterday, it was Google updated the Cardboard app and the Google Play Store, so it actually has a designated section of Cardboard-approved applications. And I've downloaded a bunch of like roller coaster apps, flying apps. There's a really good one that freaks me the hell out, and it's called Chair in the Room. And they recommend that you plug in your headphones into your phone while you're using it, and it's one of those kind of creepy horror suspense apps. So you're in a room, You can't move because I don't have a Bluetooth controller. Some of the games allow you to have Bluetooth controllers, but in this one, you don't move. You just kind of look around, and you're in this room. It's like 20 feet by 20 feet, and there's a bunch of pictures and stuff on the wall, like the death was a hoax and this guy was a suspect. So it's kind of like a horror murder kind of thing, and you see everything, and then the lights go blank. The lights go out, and in the game you have a rechargeable flashlight, and so you kind of have to look at all the clues, and then something happens. I hate that stuff. I don't watch horror films. I don't watch suspense films. So the fact that I'm watching this so close to my eyes, it's like it freaks me the heck out even talking about it.
So did it feel like you were in the room?
Kinda, yeah. Especially with these headphones. I gotta say, I mean, if you have any good headphones and you plug it in, it really kind of, because this really completely cuts off anything that you see on the outside.
Okay.
So even if this was all bright over here, and my kids were playing with these headphones turned up, and watching the game and everything, you really do feel like you're in it. There's a little bit of vertigo. There's a little bit of issue because I did have kind of a headache issue with that. Not ache, but a little dull pain, I guess, over time. But you kind of get used to it. The biggest problem though is phone size. I've got a Note 4. This wasn't really designed for like a close to 6-inch device. Using it on my wife's phone, which is the Galaxy S5, it works fine. And although the screen resolution isn't up to par of the Note 4, you really don't notice the pixelation. So I'm really excited to see like if Google's going to do anything more to this, or if this is just a playground, or if Google's going to take into account which apps are being downloaded, the fun apps, the games, the exploratory apps, because there's apps for like you can look at the maps and walk through, virtually walk through homes and things like that. I mean, it's crazy, like what you can do with cardboard. But yes.
You know what? A quick side note. I overheard a similar story about the Sony VR. I overheard one of the executives were talking about it, and they were saying, yeah, after we introduced the technology, we got all these non-gaming companies coming at us out of the blue wanting to make stuff in VR. There are tons of them, and it looks like, as you're discovering, they're already doing stuff for cardboard, and they're already trying to jump on Oculus and jump on Sony. So the minute that those go out, Volvo, I think, is going to be one of those people. Yep, here we are. Here's our experience again.
Yeah, I mean, it seems so like, why would I want to use that? But then when you actually use one app, it's like, wow, what else is out there? And there are some art apps where it makes you feel like you're walking through an art museum. And so it really gets you very emotionally attached to whatever it is that you're looking at. And if the application developer goes one extra step, they can even integrate like stereo sound. So when you look to the left, you maybe might hear people talking like you're in an art museum, and overhear their conversation, and vice versa when you go to the right. So there's that. And so if they still have it available, go check it out. It's really cool. So volvocars.us. I don't know if this is a US only thing, but I know that's where I went, and it took about 2 weeks for it to come. I actually didn't even think I was going to get it because it said something like while supplies last, and if we choose you to get it. And it's not like you have to fill out a questionnaire. You just put out your name and address. The other downside though is Volvo now has my information, so they can probably send me some other crap.
If we choose you, have you bought a Volvo car from us recently? No.
Well, I had a Volvo car. I moved over to Nissan.
You're a customer. They definitely want you back.
They want you back? They want me back. Moving on. First beer in like 2 weeks. So I think that Sean's on the same page with me on that. And then
wasn't it amazing? Wasn't that beer?
You mean the first swig?
Look, I just had mine a minute ago. I literally just had it on camera while you were talking. And if there was anyone watching this, go back and if you could see that's right. It doesn't show my feed.
It doesn't show your face because there's only two of us.
Oh my God! I drank just half of it. It's sort of like, have you seen the movie Beer Fest?
Yes.
Remember that scene where they discover that amazing beer and they drink it and they all just have that heavenly moment?
Yeah, it's for lack of a better phrase, it's orgasmic. I don't know.
Orgasmic is
It's
probably the best word.
yeah,
for it.
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Enough for me. I'm about to go get a second one in a second.
Yeah.
I'm like, I might just have to go get a second one of these. Jeez.
So in other vaping news, I got my new box, and I know that technically vape isn't really a technical thing, but this is a box mod, and the nice thing about this, it holds 2 batteries, and so I don't have to change my battery through the day. But then you can also change the voltage, which allows you to either have more cloud or more flavor, so depending on what you're looking for. And then this little doodad here at the top is called an Atlantis. Aspire Atlantis tank, and it holds more juice, so you don't have to. I don't know if you've ever seen me on the show ever dripping juice in there, but you don't have to do that. But it holds a lot more juice, but it actually has a lot more cloud, very similar to how it looks like when you drip. Whereas another tank like the Aspire Nautilus, it holds just as much juice, but there's very little cloud. So, yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about doing kind of an offshoot YouTube channel of like reviewing these things, but looking at the vape community that's out there, there's a lot. I'm still a novice at this, but this stuff really intrigues me. So that's pretty much about it. I've got a few other reviews coming out from Victor, doing some video reviews. I'm going to review the cardboard probably. I've got some cases that we're going to review for the Nexus 6 and possibly the Galaxy Note Edge, as long as Samsung sends me one. And yeah, what about you, Sean? Your new music video, sir, MTV9's uploader.
New music video, as Tony's just saying. Now, enjoy that beer. It tastes good, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah.
Doesn't it? I'm telling you. Anyway,
Oh,
new music.
I'm gonna have to go mute because I'm gonna make other noises.
No, dude, I'm not. The minute we do the first top, I'm about to walk away and get a second beer. I literally finished this first beer. I wanted to. Usually, I try to make one of these beers go the whole show. This one's not even gonna last a quarter of it. It was that good.
I feel you, man.
Anyway,
go on.
So, new music video for a song "Searching." If you haven't had a chance to check it out, please do so. It just went up a couple days ago. Look, remember how last time I did a video, Tony, it took me about a week and I got about over 100 views. This one I'm at like 66 in 2 days.
Nice job,
yeah,
man.
So it's
did you put it through any other channels that you didn't put the other video?
Same exact channels.
Same exact channels.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I think it's mainly because of the better, higher production value for the still and the video. It makes it stand out better. Plus, helps out a lot. That's why you call your
Who
friends.
shot it? I never got that answer.
BJ.
BJ, all right.
Yeah, higher production value.
The good old V to the J to the B to the, I think that's it. That's all.
Other than that, I actually spent Thanksgiving in Seattle for that entire weekend. And I'll say this much. For everyone who lives in Seattle for Thanksgiving weekend, it was cold. Oh, my God. Oh, it was so freaking cold. Unreal cold. I mean, let's just say that I think it got over 25 degrees once.
Yeah, my Seattle friends, I let them know, yeah, there's a lot of floods and a lot of rain going on. And they're like, stop your bitching. Just stop your whining. Just don't even give me that. I was like, okay, sorry.
We had this storm 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, but so besides that, I decided to get sick for a couple of weeks, hence why we didn't record. But I am enjoying my first beer.
Well, I got sick too, yeah. So
yeah, we were saying
we're back, we're healthy.
Yeah, turtles are back, beers are
Turtles are back. I'm going to the gym every day, and I am so sore, man. But yeah,
I can't wait. I can't wait. Hopefully, if everything goes right, I should be back in the gym by next week. Is what I'm hoping.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm hoping.
We'll be swole buddies. That's a thing, apparently.
So, what's also cool? New Terminator trailer.
Oh, I thought that was your segue.
No,
you
it is.
Talk about Terminator
and Star Wars. You see the Terminator trailer too.
I didn't see the Terminator one.
Okay, let's chalk that one up as the next one you're gonna walk up.
Okay, we'll talk about it off cam. But yeah, Star Wars, man. It's not even Star Wars 7. It's just Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
No,
Awakening.
Star Wars Episode 7.
No, but in the thing, it doesn't say Episode 7.
It better.
It doesn't. Look at the trailer again. It says Star Wars: Force Awakens.
After I hear done and that word Star Wars fades to the back, I better see Episode 7.
Oh, you mean on the crawl?
Yep, it better
on
be
the crawl.
7.
Yeah.
It better be.
What if J.J. Abrams completely screws with us and is like Episode 20? Like, wait, don't you dare! It's like, no. In the future, when technology gets better, I'll come back and do Episode 7 the way it should be. Like, no.
He's doing episode 7 the way it should be now because he's using real.
Yeah, he's using real effects. Yeah, real props. Yeah.
There's something to say about what is that he's running around? Oh crap,
like,
that's sand.
Yeah, like real puppets, real sand, as opposed to that fake crap that they use over there at Lucas Studios.
Now,
so let's quickly talk about this, and then we'll get into the actual big kind of debacle that happened the past 3 weeks. So right away, I got to be honest, because there were so many fakes before the video came out. When I was sent the real video, I didn't even believe it. Because when the Stormtrooper popped up, his facial expression and the way that he looked around made it like a parody. I'm like, oh god, this is a parody. But then it went on. I was like, oh, this is the real thing. So I actually had to watch it again without the whole, thinking that it was a parody. And I'm a super Star Wars fan, but I'm also open to some interpretation and artistic license. Not as much as Lucas, but some interpretation. Understanding that the technology in this world that does exist in a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, that things are going to be different. The Millennium Falcon is going to have a different antenna because it broke off in Episode 6. That's what happened. It's going to look a little bit new. Han's going to go back to the depot and say, "Hey, I want to get this." Why would you get the round one when you can get the square one? The square one comes. The square one comes with the Spice Channels. Like, oh yeah, I want that. So yeah,
He's got the princess there. He can't do that. I'm just saying, it's just it's the newer one. It's fresh, cleaner, smaller, rounder. It always comes out that way, right?
Yeah, and I love the way that the new X-wings look. Again, I know they're different, but dude, we already saw what was different about it in the first few shots when J.J. Abrams was doing his whole charity thing, and the X-wing was in the background. So we already knew what it was going to look like. So what's the problem? The Stormtroopers look awesome, and so I think that the big thing here is that Abrams really kind of attacked a lot of the super fanboys saying that, oh, I heard this leak, and I heard this leak, and I heard this leak, and a lot of those leaks were kind of addressed in this 88-second, pre-show or a trailer. But there are two things there that are very controversial:
not the lightsaber,
ball droid, and the lightsaber.
Oh god! Not
so first, ball droid, because he came first. I'm not sure. I'm like, what? What?
I don't understand how it works. I don't
understand how it works unless you have this. Unless you have two spheres and in the middle it's cut open, like so the two spheres, like a yo-yo, exactly. So they can run, they can move, and then the Aero astromech head is just like hello, or just I guess it's going side to side. But there's that. But apparently that was an original drawing, one of the original drawings of what these R2 units could possibly look like, and Abrams pulled it out of the wood pile, so to speak. Like, yeah, let's bring that back. So that wasn't his idea. That was the idea of the original designers. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. That complete homage to those guys. But then the bigger issue that people had and made a ton of memes and jokes about was the lightsaber that also had the lightsaber hilt. I think Stephen Colbert had a very good explanation as to why the hilt makes sense. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. But I personally think it's awesome. I think it's cool. I think that if all we saw was just one giant lightsaber, and mind you, it did kind of look like a really long saber. But if all we saw was a lightsaber, yeah, that would have been cool. But the fact that it had these two little things come out was like, whoa, where'd that come from? It was the exact same reaction that we had when Darth Maul put his lightsaber in front. It was 1, 2. There was 2 sabers on either end, and we were like, what the F is that? And some people criticized that. And then after the movie came out, everyone criticized the movie, but no one necessarily criticized Darth Maul, especially with his awesome, stunts and stuff. He's freaking badass, but that.
And they kill him right off the bat.
But he's not dead. He's not dead. You gotta watch Star Wars Clone Wars. He's not dead.
He's dead.
He's not dead. Star Wars Clone Wars brings him back in a very, very good way.
Dead.
No, he's not.
Dead.
Anyways, moving on.
Dead.
Yeah, I mean that lightsaber is really the only iconic piece from Episode 1 that anybody remembers. That's like, yeah, that's probably the best thing of the movie. That's pretty much it. So maybe this.
You don't not Natalie Portman's robotic acting or anything.
What are you talking about? She
Not
was
her robotic
she
acting.
was
No one remembers
she
that.
was exquisite. What are you speaking of, Sean?
Can I tell? Anyway, dude, I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. When is it?
Yeah.
It comes out next year around Christmas time, maybe, or before.
Yep, that's exactly it. It comes out next year, and so does a bunch of awesome other movies. Age of Ultron's coming out. I mean, I cannot wait. The movie theaters are going to take a ton of my money, and the worst part of it is my daughter is getting to the age that she can sit still a little bit more, so we might bring her to these, and so we'll do a whole family thing, and they're going to take more money out because I got to pay for the whole family.
Well, you're
and that's
bringing her.
popcorn and this and that. It's like,
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to work here. We actually have technology and serious stuff. Let's bring the mood down, everybody.
Down.
All right, nah, seriously. All right, so we're addressing a couple topics that just happened overall in the last couple of weeks. Some of the bigger ones. We're not hitting every little one because that would be insane. But we want to start off with the.
We'll be here till next week.
Yeah, the Sony hack and the craziness surrounding that one. So, Tony, why don't you get us started on the, Sony getting hacked and, emails, passwords, and even much more stuff being released out there in the public.
Sony got hacked in 3D. Oh, sorry. Okay, so essentially what happened is that about 3 weeks ago, Sony on, I think it was a Monday, Sony Pictures, not Sony like Entertainment altogether, but Sony Pictures, the part of Sony, the subsidiary of Sony that makes the movies, down in Southern California, Hollywood, all of the employees, when they turned their computer on, they got this kind of red screen with a skull and crossbones on it, and then I think there was a message of some sort, but it was, and then underneath it said GOP, which later we came to find out was Guardians of Peace. And in essence, what happened?
Party.
Not Grand Ole Party. Not at all. Republicans must have been like, no, it's.
Well, no one even knows what the GOP, what that even means anymore. Anyway, go on.
This hacker group went into Sony servers and completely cut them out of everything. Their internal telephony system, all their emails, all their web connection. They were in order to continue moving forward in the day-to-day business, they were using their personal cell phones, their personal email addresses to communicate with each other, fax machines, paper and pen. I mean, it sounds like the Dark Ages.
No, it sounds like 10 years ago. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, it really does. It's only been 7 years. But the worst part of it is that these hackers not only shut down the system, but they stole about 100 terabytes of data. Terabytes. That is a huge amount. I have 3 terabytes right there. It's in a little box, and I cannot imagine how much hundreds of terabytes would be, and how much stuff would be stored on there. And they stole movies, they stole payroll information, addresses, 401k info, social security numbers, not only of the employees of Sony, but also celebrities. And all this information is in the hands of the, I'm going to call them the GOP, is in the hands of the GOP.
Not the Republican Party, anyone who's listening, okay?
And the GOP is actually releasing them into BitTorrent sites.
Oh, God.
And so people are downloading all these movies, like Annie's downloadable now, and a few others. But more importantly are these social security numbers and all this like employee phone numbers, and then also it's information about salary with names. Like everything's laid out. There's no security whatsoever. It's like Jeff gets this much, and Sandra gets this much, and Tom gets this much. So if you ever wondered, hey, do I make more money than Jeff? No, I don't, but I do more work. Why is that? This pretty much lays out everything, and it's usually one of those things eyes only for the executives or whoever's in charge of it, but now it's open to everybody.
Did they
And
say why they released? I mean, this sounds. I mean, this is a pretty hefty hack. I mean, this is.
it is.
Yeah. So
This is the biggest hack
now.
of entertainment history, if not history altogether. I mean, this is huge. I mean, Sony PlayStation Network was pulled down a few years ago.
A couple months or something.
Right, and then they heightened security for us as consumers, but then separately, so now Sony Pictures gets hacked, and their own internal security system has never been heightened for anything. I mean, their CTO or their chief information security officer, I think it was a year ago, spoke to a reporter saying that he sees spending $10 million to save just $1 million in security backup and security testing and all that stuff is a waste of money. He's like, why? We don't need to do that. They've estimated the amount of money they've lost to be about $100 million. And that's not counting the upcoming lawsuits that's coming out from the employees and possibly celebrities and things like that.
Is that why the hackers did it? Is that because of this guy's statements like that? Is that why they were?
So here's the thing. They're not exactly sure definitively of where these hackers are from. However, a lot of fingers are being pointed toward North Korea, or at least Chinese hackers that have been outsourced by the North Korean government, specifically because of this upcoming movie called The Interview with Seth Rogen and James Franco, which depicts these two journalists to go up to North Korea and, as journalists, but then undercover, assassinate the head of North Korea. So it's a comedy. And North Korea has outward said that this is a blatant act of war. And it's like, dude, have a this is a joke that we laugh at it, just like you guys laugh at us Americans for doing this and doing that. We're doing this to laugh at you, and so
not everybody, not every culture gets satire, unfortunately. So
I understand that.
That's definitely what's going on here.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. So, so a lot of fingers are being pointed there, as well as the reason why this hack is very similar to previous hacks that have been happening in the past to some banks in South Korea. And there's been some other details that's said that, first of all, the hackers sent Sony extortion emails to the executives 3 days before the attack itself.
Oh, that usually gets received well.
Yeah, but unfortunately, those usually gets swept under the rug, because I'm sure they get threats and spam mail all the time. They just didn't really think of anything about it. And then also in some of these security firms like Kaspersky, for example, they went into the actual coding of the hack itself, and in the hack it has language that is very similar to how the North Koreans would actually build the hack, and also what was it? Oh, they even had specific names to servers within Sony. So this wasn't just something like over the weekend some guy said, hey, let's just go hack Sony because this movie's coming out and it pisses us off. This has been something that's been building up over time, and whether they got the names of these servers from a Sony employee that's, to their point, like defecting or trying to make a point, that's or funny. They got it some other way. Like, if people thought this might have been an inside job. There were even rumors that they thought that this was just a hoax just for a new movie, because it seems like a great movie premise, a big company.
North Koreans hacked us.
No, not even that. Just like, well, I guess that would be part of it. So it'd be another North Korean movie. But so there's a lot of stuff, and it's so all this has been happening for the past 3 weeks. Today, a few sources came out of the woodworks and said that Sony is attempting to fire back. And by that meaning they are going to these torrent websites and just DDoSing them. I don't know if
What?
Sony would do that, but
Wait,
inside sources
really?
of so inside sources from
Oh,
Sony are
wow.
saying that.
All right, this is fight fire with fire is what this has just become. Holy crap.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing because it's like the hackers are using this very advanced method of hacking and shutting down a whole system and gouging them. And Sony uses DDoS. And DDoS isn't something to joke about, but it's very basic. And it's something that, if the GOP takes offense to it, if it is really the GOP, if it, if they are a real, well, I'm sure they are a real group, but if they once they see this, they might say, oh, if you wanna play games here, click, and they do something else. It's just gonna make matters worse. So this report of this, fireback came out on Thursday, December 11th, 2014. So maybe we'll see something on December 12th, 2014 of Sony, I don't know, their servers themselves exploding. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm just curious on the exact reason they're targeted, but it sounds like if that person said that stuff, saying, "Oh, we don't want to spend money on that because we feel it's a waste of money," and that number stuff got out, that's one thing. If it's the people about that movie, like I've heard about people having problems with that movie before, and I'm just like, oh yeah, well that's just a cultural problem right there. And if that group was someone in that group, someone in that country kind of took it upon themselves to fight back for their country, it wouldn't surprise me either. It wouldn't surprise me if the everything was on the other, if the shoe was on the other foot, that some American hacker won't try to get into another country because they feel they're being insulted by their American rights or something. That wouldn't surprise me. Somebody wouldn't try something like that.
I mean, I don't know how many times, we watch movies and we depict the Russians or Germans or North Koreans in this case as the enemy, and thusly, growing up, you might have a subconscious bias against these not just the people but the country, just because you were brought up to think, oh, all Russians are terrible because they have this and that and the other thing. But then on the flip side, the Russians would look at the same movie and say that's complete propaganda, and then they would come up with their own movie and say, look, we're heroes. Look at these Americans with capitalism and this and that. And to them, it's just going to be an ongoing thing where, from a country pride standpoint, we're never going to agree. I just, if this was the issue because of this just one movie, it's scary to think what these hackers or other hackers of the like might do for something that concern that maybe another country is not a big fan of. Might be something as like again, they crashed the systems of Obamacare. Like we don't want the United States to have centralized the method of getting health care because they don't deserve it or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. But it's definitely scary. So with that being said, this happening, you can imagine every security office of all the technical security analysts for all the other major motion picture companies and television companies are saying, improve security now, just go, just do this, do what I told you last week. And that's the other thing too. I do want to give, I don't want to say that all the executives were just saying shut up, don't. Or rather, I don't want to say that the security analysts in these other companies or even Sony weren't doing anything. I'm sure they were saying, hey, if we do this, this, and this, we would protect ourselves from people stealing stuff. But the thing is, we have to take into account is budget. They have a huge budget, and it's more than I could spend in a lifetime, but it's still a budget. And they need to put that budget toward things that would make them more money. And in the long run, yes, they're going to save money. But from a short-term standpoint, it's like, well, look, we could put all these things up, but we haven't been hacked. why would we be hacked now if we haven't been hacked before? So
I think
let's
it's
put
more,
let's put that money toward other things. And
like
what were you gonna say?
I think it's more of an issue of they didn't actually correctly assess the value of what they could lose if they were hacked.
No,
That's
no,
actually what it
that's
is.
100%.
Yeah, so
That's
they did,
that's
it's not that
100%.
they were thinking. They say, okay, well, if we lose, we're going to lose this, we'll lose that, we'll lose that. But we know we're fine. Never says, wait, we'll lose all the information. Wait, my information? You mean my cousins? Then it's like, oh, this is a much bigger situation. But anyway,
Yeah, so just kind of bringing it back to like homegrown. When I lost my wallet earlier on this year, my initial reaction was, oh, it's fine. I can cancel those credit cards. But then I started thinking, oh God, my ID has my license and my address and my picture and all that stuff. Pretty much everything that they need. If someone of the know gets a hold of it, they can do a ton of crap to me just because of my stupid pants had shallow pockets. That's it. And it's like that. So now me, when I go shopping for shorts and pants and things of that nature, I check the pants. I check the pockets. I put my wallet in there. And so I've heightened my own security for those purposes, also because I have a big freaking phone. But it's those things that you don't really think about until stuff happens. And hopefully Sony has learned from their mistakes, and these other companies are also not just movie companies, just every company that's out there, technical or non-technical. Just if you have a company, you're online, and you have something that you think that somebody else wants, protect it. Put the effort into protecting it, even though you might have to take a second mortgage out on your house. I know that's harsh, but if you believe in this company and you want it to go far, how are you going to go far if you don't protect your stuff and someone steals it and copies your idea and runs away with it and you're left with nothing? You're left with that. You're left with the house, and that's it.
Well, house is a house.
House is a house, but you get my point.
House is a house. All right, so
a horse is a horse, and a horse is a horse.
Yeah,
Sorry,
exactly.
that was in my head.
Think of like a house is a house of Krause. No, that didn't work. Anyway, so all right, so Tony, let's take a
Roger
break here because
Krause?
we've gone about 40 minutes here. So let's take a break here. Yeah, look how long we gone.
Oh dang, man!
I was like thinking, I'm like, wow, man, look Tony go, man. It's been a long time. He's just trying to get out of the system, but yeah, we're running going here.
We were talking pre-show a lot.
Yeah, no, we started still at 11:05.
No, I mean like the pre-news show part where we talked about ourselves. So
Exactly.
Maybe I talked about myself too much. Sorry.
No,
My bad, guys.
Yeah, presentations. Remember? Yeah, reviews, interviews. Reviews to show off. Cardboard.
Thanks, Melvin. I appreciate it. Melvin Gonzalez says that I'm right, and I think he's talking about protect yourself. So protect yourself. Put that security condom on. All right, let's go to the ad.
All right, we'd like to thank our sponsor. Our sponsor for the LTG show, episode 214.
Yes.
Thank you. God, make sure I didn't save the number over here where I usually save it. Well, our sponsor happens to be Audible.com. Audible.com is a great audiobook service. It's sort of like a book club for all of us busy folks who have technology but really do not have the ability to enjoy sit back and enjoy a book in our days. Audible.com is the service that you want to use, and with this URL that I have here, you actually get a chance to check it out for free. So this is like a no-risk situation right off the bat. So you can't really go wrong for that. But well, this is all you got to do. Except go to your URL, type in www.audibletrial.com/lazy. Once again, audibletrial.com/lazy. Sign up. And then when you sign up, what you'll get is this. You'll get, a free book. So you get a free audiobook that you get to listen to. And audiobooks are professional books, bestsellers, and new releases that are read by professionals. And we're talking about all like the Grissom, Stephen King novels and everything more, fiction, nonfiction, history, biography, everything, every kind of book you can imagine is all there. So you get a free book. You also get discounts on other books while you're a member. So if you find another book that's of interest, you get to go ahead and buy it. You save a few bucks on that. And you get to be part of a really, really cool book club that's going to just give you, like I said, the best books, over 150,000 possibilities there, and it just grows from there. So go ahead, check it out, audibletrial.com/lazy. Works on every device. Works with a phone in your pocket, your computer, and more. Allows us to listen to these books and enjoy these great literary arts in our busy lifestyles. And it's very, very cool. So once again, audibletrial.com/lazy. Go ahead and sign up. Use that URL. Enjoy your free book and your freebies. And thank them for being a sponsor. All right. So before I start the next topic, I'm going to take a little drink. Relax the throat. All right, so for our next topic, now this one is not necessarily a new topic. This is something that it seems like the information on this is slowly leaking out. Like I see this article date, and then I see another updated article about this. I didn't find out until like 2 months later where they're starting to bring this up. But this is some pretty big news, especially for everybody who listens to Pandora or who simply listens, really mainly listens to Pandora, or loves Taylor Swift. So,
1989, buddy.
There you go.
That's my jam.
I'm
I
gonna
don't know this album.
I'm going to read this from the beginning, this whole entire article, because this kind of sums up a lot of this. Pandora has established a partnership with independent rights group Merlin that marks the entertainment radio's first direct deal with record labels. Rather than pay statutory rates set by the Copyright Royalty Board, Pandora will pay rates negotiated with Merlin. In addition, the deal opens a line of communication between Pandora and labels that will help introduce Merlin's music to listeners. All right. Now,
I think you mentioned this in another show, like earlier on this year, but there's been some new developments since then.
Well, here's the thing about it, and here's the and to make sure so. What is happening here is Pandora is getting financially compensated to play certain types of music over others, which it's payola in a way. Now, they're doing it in a different way. The way they're doing it is the way they're doing it is and this is what kind of bugs me about the whole thing. So here's the deal. For years, we've been listening to how Pandora has been hurting music industry and hurting music rights. They're not paying out enough royalties. I mean, there's reports even up months ago where people were claiming those. Those people who are making that claim were part of this group, and this group is the group that has now made this deal that is going to solve all their problems. But the deal in reality is they're going to take less royalties if their songs are played more. So if I'm an artist with this Merlin group of independent artists or independent labels or something like that, then I would say, hey, you know what? I'm mad because you're only paying me 9 cents per play or something like that. You know what? Pay me only 6 cents per play if you play my music more, and I'm happy. Doesn't make any sense to the claims of what they were making before. It absolutely doesn't, because if they needed more money, they wouldn't be trying to get more plays for less money. They'd be just trying to get more money. So what they've done is that's part of the deal there. So they're going to get compensated for playing certain materials more than others. The other part of this is they're opening a line of communication between Pandora and the labels, which means that the labels are going to have all the information, the listener information, and everything you like, what you don't like, that Pandora was now storing. All the music IQ and stuff that Pandora has now kept to themselves and said, hey, this is our special stuff, is now going to be shared with all the listeners that Pandora has signed these label deals with, but not with the other labels, only with their friends. Now, this is a U.S.-only deal. And, now, real fast, Tony, remember how you said we did talk about this a couple weeks ago?
We did.
I was mentioning that there's companies like ASCAP and BMI who are fighting the royalty rate, and they're trying to change the stuff in Congress, saying that they are trying to get that copyright royalty rate changed and raised so that everybody gets covered at the same time. That's what ASCAP and BMI have been doing. This is kind of like a backdoor way that the Merlin group folks can actually get extra money out of it, and it doesn't affect the copyright royalty rate. So it kind of says, well, you know what? We're going to go ahead and protect ourselves, and the rest of you guys can all fit within yourselves. So, possible issues.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Definitely possible issues. I mean, it seems like a complete conflict of interest. Not necessarily conflict. Yeah, conflict of interest by favoring Merlin, especially if I'm listening to a mix where I don't necessarily have.
Like Bon Iver is one of them, the National group.
Right, so I'm listening to a mix of a specific genre, but all of a sudden, all the artists are only from Merlin. I can definitely see that being a conflict of interest. Do you think that this would pave the way for other labels to sign similar deals? In essence, making. Does that make Pandora better than the likes of Spotify because they have? Let's say they sign deals with all the labels, all the major labels, so they all have similar deals. How would that work in terms of favoritism? Because there's no favoritism. If they all have the exact same deal, they're paying less for more airplay. And if you go to Spotify, Spotify has the more archaic copyright royalty board, statutory rates, not rape, rates. Because when you said that earlier, I was like, what? Statutory rates. All right. Yeah. So how would that work? If you would compare, the future of Pandora having this new agreement with all the labels, whereas Spotify and RDO don't.
All right. So here's as far as Pandora goes. Yeah, this actually. So I expect this to lead it to more deals with other labels, so they can get the favoritism and they can get the information. Keep in mind, the labels are getting information about the listeners. The big incentive for any other label to do this is, you mean I can now get the information from my listeners that I'm not able to get because I'm not appropriately using social media? I can finally find out what songs they like, what songs they don't like, and then market to them correctly and be able to send them marketing information directly to the people I know. So besides that advantage, which is one of the things they're gaining out of this,
how are they sending marketing information?
That's part of the deal. Pandora is going to share all their information of their listeners and everything with the label so that the labels know how to market it and be able to...
So I could get an email from Merlin, in essence, saying, hey, check out these new artists?
No, well, from Merlin artists. So
right. So I'll get an email from Pandora saying, check out these Merlin artists, brought to you by Merlin?
Merlin artists will now be given the ability to directly engage with their fans on the Pandora platform.
So it's on the platform itself. So what could happen though? It's just more like you might like this, like recommendations.
No.
Right?
Yeah, well, that's what they're... Yeah, but it's only going to be from certain artists.
But it's so it's forced recommendations.
It's forced recommendation. It's pretty much paid recommendation. They're paying these...
Sure.
People to be now, the reason... Now, here's another part of it all. Now, to kind of go to answer your question. A while ago, I put up a video from a guy. I'm trying to remember who was it from. I'm trying to remember what this guy's name is. Okay, if you look it up, go to YouTube and look up Face the Music 2014 keynote address. It is a guy who sits there and talks about the music industry and the state of what's going on. One of the biggest things that he complained about is that music industry executives are trying to, and he put this in parentheses over and over again throughout the entire presentation, fix the industry so it works out better for everybody. Essentially, the reason why this entire thing is a problem is because the internet and the industry because of the internet, they can't control the distribution platforms. Everybody has a voice. Independent artists have a voice. Everybody has a way of getting their music heard and getting their say out there. Everybody's on equal platform. Even worse, Pandora has allowed independent artists to get put on their platform to compete with the airspace and the time that the major artists are now getting. What's happening is these labels are trying to control the distribution outlet so that they can have the main say on what is being heard and played. That is simply it. If you watch this video, now if anyone thinks that's a little bit of what do you call it again? What is that thing? Tinfoil hat-ish? Seriously, this is not tinfoil hat. Look this up on YouTube. Face the Music 2014 keynote address. It has a guy who plays in a metal band who's talking about this, and he's discussing it directly and how the music industry has improved since the internet has been around, how music has improved, how more artists have gotten their things out there. Artists who would have never gotten their voice out there are now selling records and making a living doing music, though before in the old system it didn't work. And how a lot of times in the old system the only people who got paid were not the artists but mainly the booking agents, the lighting guys, and everybody else but the artists got paid with the artist money. It's pretty much, this is how they screwed the artists. This is what is being done to fix it, and this Pandora move looks like a direct way of stopping that from happening. So I'm like, oh, wow, okay. So it is an issue for independent artists because they're taking away airspace because now it's more financially viable for them to play Bon Iver than it is to play my music, even though people may be a buzz about my music. And I'm using myself as a small time fry. There's millions of other artists who are much better than me who are trying to get there out there, who are much further than me, that this is also going to hold back and make us hear, well, less original music out there.
Okay.
I mean, you kind of see the. Tony.
I definitely see the issue.
Yeah. So Tony, I love the fact that I can discuss this with you because you always try to bring me the other side of the argument and say, hey, look, what about this? What about this? What about this? Oh, by the way, I want to go back to a conversation we had a couple weeks ago. Remember the entire Tomb Raider debacle?
Yeah.
Sony did the exact same thing, and as soon as I saw that, I'm like, fair game now. It's all game. Everybody can throw at each other and do all the exclusives. By the way, yeah, fair game. So I expect everybody to be just as pissed about Street Fighter V as I expect people to be pissed about Tomb Raider. By the way, I was like, yep, all right, look at that. Started it up anyway. But as far as
Melvin in the chat room here makes a point here.
Hey,
everyone has a different choice and opinions. We must respect every artist. No lie, but it's trustworthy monetary. It's a trustworthy truthfully monetary issue.
You know what, Melvin, let me go along with what you're saying. This is actually what I was thinking. Now, one of the articles I saw when Pandora was talking about this is they were saying how, oh, here it is. Pandora says that I'm trying to find the statement in this article and the article I read, but what they were saying is that when they made changes to people's listening habits or what they were listening to, they didn't notice any drop in listenership at all. And I'm like, that's exactly right, because that happens on Netflix too. As the variety and collection of Netflix has changed, most people just kept it going because there's still a large variety of stuff to watch. But at the same time, the overall conversation about whether it being a good service does not increase, and it definitely goes downhill. And if Pandora wants to risk their reputation about, hey, you know what, I went to Pandora and I put in country music and I heard Taylor Swift 6 times. I mean, I actually just wanted to hear some Dolly Parton. I put in Dolly Parton. It gave me some Dolly Parton. It gave me a little another Willie Nelson here. Then it gave me what's her name again? I didn't want her. Don't like her. You know, you see how it can start to annoy people. And after I was like, why am I using this platform? Let me go to something else that actually gives me what I want.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the beginning of Pandora, when I started using it back in 2007, I stopped using it since. But one of the big issues I had with it was that, and I think it wasn't an issue with, who's paying out, but they had such a small catalog that I was hearing the exact same song over and over again. So I can imagine this would be the exact same issue, where if I'm listening to a specific genre and they want to push more of the Merlin artists from that genre, I'm only going to hear those Merlin artists over time. So
yeah, you're just going to hear them more. Like Bon Iver is a fine artist. I have actually a couple of employees at my work who are huge fans of theirs and listen to them and bought their music many times. And
I mean, that's fine. That's the whole point, that you listen to the artist maybe once, twice, 3 times, maybe even 10 times. But if it bogs down the whole playlist with just like 4 or 5 artists of the same label and maybe only 3 or 4 artists or 2 artists of other labels that aren't having this kind of Pandora deal, then there's a definite flaw in the system. So going back though,
Melvin actually has another comment in here. They do it everywhere. They always recommend. Yeah, you know what? The recommendations are designed to allow us to tailor our own music. But at the same time, when you hit play and you let Pandora go to the radio station, when a 3rd song or the 5th song, like you may hear, let's say, I'm going to keep throwing Taylor Swift out there because she's a popular artist nowadays. That's the reason why I use her, because, that's the main reason. Anyway, so before you may have put in country music and you heard a Taylor Swift song every 30 songs. Now it's every 10 songs. Then it'll become every 7 songs. And at this point, it's like, wait, why am I listening to Taylor Swift They can just push it up. And the fact is, they save money by doing this. And Pandora has complained about getting music saving money. They don't have any money. They don't have any money. So toward the end of the month, when the bills are getting paid, who's to say they just can't turn up the Merlin artists a little bit more? All right, we're done. Okay, turn it back a little bit. There's so many ways that they can abuse this to. There's so many ways that they can abuse this to their advantage, and just, I mean, not to their advantage, but just to not the advantage of the people, the listeners, and we're the people who are, well, hopefully paying for their service.
So going back to my initial question, I'm sorry if you did, but I don't remember your response. If Pandora was able to have agreements with Sony, BGM, UMG, with the similar kind of royalty payment where they pay out less but they play it more, and they're all on a very similar level playing field, would that be a good situation, or does that have an issue?
For everyone who is not signed to those labels, absolutely not.
So if they were able to...
So that means 99%
so you don't think
of the people in the world who are not signed to a major label are going to get affected.
So indies.
Absolutely. Every last one.
I mean, isn't that the issue, though, that a lot of independent artists have, that these platforms just don't support independent artists, which is why a lot of independent artists are trying to promote, like, their SoundCloud page?
Yep. And now,
I mean, like you, for example, you have your own page on SoundCloud.
Pandora's making it harder. This step has officially just made it harder. And I was just like, thanks.
So it's definitely helping the larger, the bigger name artists, no problem. Yeah. They probably don't even see a difference in their paycheck until they talk to their accountant. But then individuals like yourself and other bands that I grew up with, personally, and they're still in their respective garages, so to speak. They're still kind of waiting for their big break, but they're never going to have this deal unless they somehow get signed to Sony and stuff. My cousin works for Sony. I'll go talk to him.
Well, you got his hack information. Let me go look on the Sony pictures. No,
his last name is Hannity's. You can go find him. He's in Sony London. He's in the music industry. Yeah.
So, but that's the entire issue. It's like it's making it harder for people to really get it out there. And the greatest thing about the internet is I have discovered more artists than I know. Like, here's actually an album that I didn't even realize came out. It was a Mary J. Blige album, the London Sessions. Didn't even know this album existed. Tripped over it the other day, and I was like, oh, let me listen to this. There's a freaking great album. It's better than the last 5 that she's released. I'm telling you, and I'm like, I listen to this album, and I'm already telling people, hey, dude, Mary J. Blige has got a great album. I'm telling people already, and it's already positive thing about that. And that's for a major artist, and it's allowing me to discover it. But I've also discovered just as many small artists. Like a friend of mine is a woman named Leah Ticey, who's a friend of mine, lives out in Berkeley, and she's out there trying to get her stuff to go. And she's hung out with a lot of great artists and all that. Hung out with like Sheila E. and Pete Escovedo and all that group for still hangs out with them a lot. Well, her album is out on the streaming services. You cannot Pandora her, but you could Google Play her right now. You could iTunes right now, and guess what? Her job just became harder.
Yeah.
My job just became harder. Everybody's job just became harder. Thank you very much to Merlin. So
yeah, this is kind of why I still curate my own stuff. And although I put myself in a box of bands and groups and individuals that I already know, sometimes I'll find a new person, and that's kind of rare because I really only find a new group or individual because I'll watch a YouTube video and it says you might also like, and that might be another conversation we can have separately to this. Is YouTube being paid to promote these other people, or is it just viewpoints? Or click views and things like that. But yeah, this definitely seems like it's going to be an ongoing issue, especially with.
It's gonna be a quiet one. It's gonna be a quiet issue. No one's gonna notice it because everybody's just gonna go about their playlist, listen to their music, and then all the underground artists are going to be like, wait, what the? And we're the ones who are going to be griping about it. But anyway. Hey,
can I talk about something music related, but it's a good thing?
What do you got?
Okay, so on Windows 8.1 and Windows Phone 8.1, you can download a free app called Music Deals. And in this app, it does redirect you to the Microsoft the music downloader thing. They have their own catalog of music that you can download. Albums cost between 99 cents to like $3 normally. But in this Music Deals app for the month of December, they're giving away between 50 to 100 different albums of they're generally big name artists, which is a good thing, because I downloaded all. I downloaded all of Led Zeppelin's albums that I forgot that I even owned, so I downloaded those, and there's like Bon Jovi's on there, Linkin Park's on there, Mary J. Blige was on there, Lady Gaga's on there. So if you're into those things, but you don't necessarily want to spend any money, go check that out, and it's DRM free, so you can put that onto your iPhone, your Android phone, it doesn't even matter. And what's cool about my computer setup was I downloaded it from Microsoft, but then automatically it got uploaded to Google Play Music, and then in turn got transferred to my phone. So yeah, I just kind of want to end this whole kind of issue with a grace note. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Another positive thing.
Yeah.
Melvin, thank you for your joining in the conversation. I appreciate it. I'm with you on that. There's a lot that's going on here, and we're just trying to let the people know. Anyway, let's get to the next topic. All right, so we're gonna try to run through these next topics because we ran way too long on the first two of 8. All right. So.
I set our podcast to an hour and a half just to be safe. So if you think we're going too long, we've got an hour and a half from 11 p.m. So I think we're okay.
So we got 25 minutes to get through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics. Perfect.
Yeah, we could. I think the HBO one might be long, but yeah.
Not really. It's more, it's partially humorous, but partially, of course. HBO. Okay, so we talked a couple weeks ago about HBO, and now they're going to allow people to not have to subscribe to HBO through Comcast or any other cable service, and allow us to subscribe to them directly. I know, and then just allow us just to pay them directly, and they just give us all their content. Well. We didn't know how they were going to do it technology-wise. I think, Tony, you brought that up as a question, and it looks like the answer has been revealed that they're going to use MLB Advanced, which is something that MLB, the Major League Baseball League, has also using to do their MLB TV. Other services that are using it, the WWE Network is also using it, and Tony himself has said does a very, very good job.
Yeah. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
So HBO has...
Join in.
So the project was called Maui, and that was a project of the HBO Go. That was the stuff that they have. You're very welcome, Melvin. Anyway, so that was they're killing a project called Maui. That was their software that they were using right now. Like if you looked at HBO Go, used it on a tablet or phone or whatever it happened to be, that was kind of the backbone behind it. But the technology did not work up to snuff. People were not satisfied. I guess, Tony, you confirmed there were crashes amongst many other things that...
Well, I personally don't have HBO Go, but I know from other users that there were issues. You're trying to watch the latest episode of Game of Thrones, which is probably HBO's biggest hit since The Sopranos, and you can't.
Oh, I missed that show. I really missed that show. So this is all fine and dandy, right? We got a better service. Everything's going to work fine, right? Yeah, well, except for
it doesn't work.
So they're moving this stuff to the new service. The chief technical officer, whose whole job was to get this stuff up and running, his name was Otto Burks, has resigned from HBO as soon as this stuff has been revealed. Now, Burks has been with HBO, home box office, since 2012, and they set up an office in Seattle while HBO is based in New York. They have 55 engineers there, full of primarily Microsoft employees. Interesting. Microsoft employees, buddies, because I think this guy used to work at Microsoft too.
Yeah, he did.
And he said that the word is it used to cost about $100 million per year to keep that office in Seattle running.
Yeah.
I bite my fist for a second.
So that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. So
that's a lot of money to basically, put out what HBO Go.
Yeah,
an app?
An app that, yeah. The PlayStation when running, jerks. Anyway, so yeah. All right, so this is it. So I guess a lot of people who are really interested in what technology is going to be behind it.
Well, now we know.
Yeah. Now, I am going to call out Fortune magazine, and we're going to go on. I am absolutely calling them out for this. So this isn't a Fortune magazine where we saw this article. As I'm reading the article, there's something put in parentheses which is completely does not need to be here, and the editor of this article seriously should have caught this. So it says HBO is expected to make a strong statement that it's a media company, not a technology company. They do not want to be seen after chasing after Netflix, which has led the TV industry into online streaming. Then it puts in parentheses. Notably, Netflix Netflix was able to publish an entire season of House of Cards and The Orange is the New Black without any outages. And they say that after, in the close parenthesis, and this was proclaimed after they made a snide remark on how HBO had outages getting their stuff out. That line did not need to be there.
Yeah, that line's a slap in the face. If you take that line out, it's basically saying, they're not trying to follow in the footsteps of Netflix. They're trying to, produce high quality media content with an addendum of technology, so the world that doesn't necessarily have an HBO subscription, or even if they do, they will be able to grasp onto it and view it. But at the same time, but the thing is, they have outages, so, but they're not trying to catch up with Netflix. But Netflix, they're not trying to catch up with them. But Netflix, they've never had an outage, and they've got great shows. Just saying. Wink, wink. It's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of thing, exactly. And then a slap in the face.
Exactly. What do you call this thing? A backhanded compliment? Almost.
Yeah, it really. Yeah, well, there's no compliment here.
It's like, I'm just gonna backhand you. Like, oh, you jerk. Anyway, so besides that, yeah, Fortune Magazine, good job on that, good catch. So besides that, now Tony, VR.
Yes, VR.
What's happening? We're getting a form of VR happening very soon.
Yes, so I am coming out with my own VR. It's called Tony Cardboard, powered by Google. So here we go. Yay! No, so oh god, that actually hurt. When you look through these things without any kind of screen, it kind of hurts. Okay, so we actually heard about the Gear VR from Samsung back at IFA 2014, and then this was an attachment for the Galaxy Note 4, and specifically only for the Galaxy Note 4. And I think it was priced at about $200 to $249, and now it is officially available for purchase from directly from Samsung and AT&T for only $200. And I say only, but that's a pretty good price, if for VR, for a consumer product, when you compare the other products that are available. Like Oculus Rift is $1,500 for a development kit, and then the Project Morpheus from Sony isn't even available yet. But then you could also go to Google Cardboard. But the thing about Google Cardboard, comparing this to the Samsung VR, although the technology might seem the same to the layman, in Gear VR it's definitely heightened and a lot better. At least from what I've heard. I actually haven't tested it myself. But so it's available. But here's the kicker. If you have, at least here in the United States, if you have Sprint or Verizon or any other, I think Sprint and Verizon are the two carriers that haven't done this yet, the phones themselves need an update to be able to support Gear VR. So unless you get the update or somehow sideload the update, which hasn't been, I don't think it's been separately available through the forums, or at least I haven't checked it out myself. You've just bought a $200 paperweight. So be aware that if you're into this, if you want to use this for your own personal gain, if you want to use this as a development kit for your games, for your company, maybe you want to use the Gear VR to showcase houses in the Hamptons while you're here in San Francisco. If you have Verizon, go to AT&T just for that. So just be aware of it. But yeah, again, just like my whole kind of soapbox about virtual reality. I think we all thought it was kind of a niche product at first, but more and more we are seeing developers create applications that aren't just games. But we're seeing applications that even Grandpa might be interested in. I mean, and I'll make one segue and then we'll move on. I haven't been to Greece since I was about 8 years old.
Yeah,
so if you,
I haven't been to Greece in 38 years old. 38 years. How old am I again? No, kidding.
I loved Greece. Greece was beautiful. It was awesome. But at the same time, I was a little too young to really, really appreciate. Thank you. Appreciate and enjoy the experience of being there. Now that I'm older, I think obviously more mature in that regard. I think I'm more mature. But if you were able to, in a sense, transport me there visually and audibly there in a really very much realistic environment, of course I wouldn't be able to interact with my surroundings. I couldn't pick up the sand. I can't touch the topless women's boobs because there are topless beaches there. I went there by accident. That's a different story.
You were 8 years old. You did not do that by accident.
Actually, it's just the beach. The women were just topless. It's just the beach. They don't care.
Yes,
that's exactly what I was thinking.
8 years old.
My dad and my uncle were like, well, no matter what beach we go to, he's going to see it. So, hey, we'll just stay here. That was the
You're like,
so aside from that though, just being able to see the Acropolis, where Athena was at, and be able to go to and watch the Greek guards walk around their weird kind of silly walks and things like that. That would just be amazing. The one thing that you're missing is the touch and the smell. But if they were able to do all of that, very realistically, I think that would be awesome. So if you can't afford this, get Google Cardboard.
Much cheaper.
Much cheaper. And also in Google Cardboard, there's a free app that allows you to kind of look at the Shire and the Hobbit. So if you're a big Hobbit fan, you can actually see where like Frodo and Bill Baggins, Bilbo where they grew up. Like, ooh, wow. Look, there's his house. There's the well. And there's Soren. Oh, God! Sorry, something like that.
All right. So check this out real fast before we go on. I saw this article just now. Sony ATV chairman blasts payouts from internet radio. He's blasting Pandora for not paying out any royalties for the amount of plays that they're doing. And then he sits there and praises them, saying it's very important that we keep these going on and that we have these services. The real solution to the problem is changing those statutory rates, R-A-T-S, rates. Get that right. Make sure I'm not trying to say it. Get those rates correctly, because those rates were done in the 70s. Inflation has changed all the value of money, and pretty much if we still had the 70s inflation, the money values paid out would be fine, but they're not. They're trying to fix that. So go look to what ASCAP is doing. Go look at the other folks. I think they're the ones who are trying to fix the problem the right way, and the Merlin thing I think is a bad way of doing it. Anyway, cool. All right, so so it's funny, real fast. Google Glass. I was listening to a This Week in Tech, and they bashed Google Glass for a half an hour. Pretty much said it's dead, it's dead, it's dead, it's dead, it's dead. And then I see this article title, and I was like, oh, I guess it's not dead. Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything coming out of Google in terms of an update to Glass. It's not even like Android Wear at the moment. Developers are starting to kind of fall off by the wayside. And so the overall consensus was, yeah, it's dead. But then sometime last week, Intel came to the forefront and said, hey, actually, we are going to be powering the next iteration of Glass, which most likely is going to be the consumer version of Glass. So it might look a little different from what we see right now. I don't know what it's going to look like. There's been some mock-ups which kind of look the same. But the battery is going to be... Yeah, so from the mock-up that I saw, and I don't have a picture with me, but the battery looks to be smaller, which is a little like, the battery life already isn't the greatest,
But then they could have improved the battery life without then shrink the battery.
They haven't really improved battery technology at all, so I don't know what they're doing. Unless they have like a very thin fiber optic cable going to a battery pack that's around your waist or something. But
a screen on the eye that doesn't take as much power.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, yeah. So the Intel processor. Intel basically they came out with this. They announced that they're partnering with Google to come out with Google Glass, and then earlier on this week they also said that they're coming out with a method, or rather a standard for the Internet of Things. And maybe Google is kind of tapping into that. So it would have this new kind of Internet of Things powered standardization set by Intel. So it's going to be interesting to see like what Google and Intel do with the next iteration of Glass. So for now, yeah, it's stagnant. But if anything, Google is learning so much of what we as consumers are ready for in the consumer market, and we're starting to see the Android Wear be a lot more prevalent. I've seen people that I would never think or just visually. I would never think an older grandpa-looking person would ever have a Moto 360 around his wrist, but there he goes, there he is, and so that means don't judge a book by its cover. But it also means that Google is Google and its partners has possibly hit a chord with everyday consumers, saying, hey, yeah, smartwatches in the beginning just said, here's a new text message and things like that. But developers are really getting behind and saying, oh, we can do so much more. Here's your heartbeat. Here's this. Here's that. Here's your golf swing. It's like, oh, yeah, I totally need that. And it looks awesome. And now Intel is trying to get into that as well, too. The issue that I have is that because Intel has its own standard, Intel has its own standard. So if you want to have this universal standard, you're going to have to make your device Intel powered. And not to say Intel's bad, it's just, if you don't have the means to get an Intel powered device in your homegrown, startup, then, you're kind of out of luck, and you might not have your device communicate as well with the other devices that everybody else has. So that does, bode an issue in the future. But we will see what happens, because I am not a soothsayer.
I like how you use that word.
Yeah,
I
was thinking of 300, and I was like, oh, that girl with boobs in the beginning. She was like a soothsayer, kind of. Or she was what are they called?
Dude, I always know those old, weird, nasty dudes are all over it. I'm just like,
yeah,
that's weird.
They're licking her and stuff.
I'm just gonna go ahead and just not look at the screen for a while and just wait for the scene.
Well, no, I don't mind looking at it, but it's weird because my dad's right there. And I was like, I don't want to look at some girl being licked at with my own family in the room. It's like, oh, this is weird.
Your dad's like, yes.
Oracle. She was an Oracle. That's what it was. Sorry, I was like, I know there's a company named after this.
Like, I'll let you know. Oh, by the way, congrats to the Golden State Warriors for being the best team in the NBA. It is awesome to hear. It is awesome to hear teams from the East Coast say how the Warriors are the best team in the NBA. Those are the exact words, and that's awesome. 19-2, good job. Keep it up, guys. All right, so last topic for the day. Google has a CAPTCHA. They're changing the CAPTCHA stuff. Those little systems that allow us to make sure we're not robots. Looks like they're trying to do a better one. Tony, all right, what's this big deal?
Yeah, so up until recently, if you've ever gone to a website that they want to heighten security, they'll have you put in your password and everything, but additionally, they'll have a little CAPTCHA, which is essentially a kind of fizzled out image of numbers and letters, and you have to retype it out, and that would verify that you are, in fact, a human, that you're not a robot. And the interesting thing of this technology that, and I think this is still happening, when you use that CAPTCHA, you're actually decrypting scanned documents, scanned books that, to the naked eye, they can't really read the text because it's been so faded and degraded over years. But putting it into CAPTCHA, one word after another, people around the world are helping decrypt this book. So these books are essentially being crowdsourced and crowd decrypted unintentionally, but it's helping these libraries and everything being able to digitize books and in the future get into the masses. So one day we're going to have a book that we never knew that existed. It's like, yeah, here's the book that you all helped decrypt. Here you go. But yeah, people don't like CAPTCHAs. As much as we're helping a book being decrypted, people just don't like CAPTCHAs. So Google has devised in their infinite wisdom a new method wherein that they look at your IP address and a few other things, including your mouse movements, to determine if you are in fact a human versus a robot. So on desktop, what's going to happen, and let me just share screen here. So on desktop, what is going to happen?
You can see a bunch of cat photos.
In a second, hold on, no cat photos yet.
This
so
is
you're
the internet.
you're going to see this. It's going to say I'm not a robot, and you click that little box, and by the power of Google being able to look at everything that I had mentioned, plus a few other things that they don't want to say because they don't want the CAPTCHA bots being able to figure it out, they would be able to say, okay, you're not a robot, you can go. You can go on to this website. And some websites have already signed up for the service. So this means that Google.com services are going to adopt this, as well as their partners, and maybe not necessarily partners, but just other websites that have signed up to use this. And the idea is that, when you see this CAPTCHA come up, you might say, I don't want to deal with this, so you don't go to the website. You don't sign up for the service. You don't do any of that. But now that it's just so much quicker, you don't have to worry about it. You just click a box. If it can't determine if you're a human or not, what's going to happen then it's going to defer to either the standard CAPTCHA with the jumbled letters and numbers, or you're going to get, as Sean said, cat photos. So you see here a cat, and then it says select all images below that match this one. It doesn't mean it has to match a cat, the exact image of the cat. It just means you have to click all the cats. So there's a cat, there's a cat, there's a cat, and there's a hamster. So don't click that. And then there's a cat there too. You verify, and you're good to go.
What about the tree? Not the tree? Don't click the tree?
The tree is not a cat. If you look at the Latin root of tree.
I got it.
So if you're wondering, hey, if I'm blind, that's great. But if I'm visually impaired, how does that work? Well, there's also going to be audible accessibility methods where when you hover over it, they'll use another method if you are blind. So I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but they definitely took that into account. On mobile, because you don't have a mouse, it's just going to come directly to this. So yeah, there's that. And so, I think it's great. I think this new method is going to be a lot easier for a lot of people, and it's going to make, surfing the web and signing up for services a lot easier, a lot more amicable. And hey, you see a few pictures of cats and dogs for a little bit. But the issue that the issue that people have is that's a little creepy. The fact that not only Google, not just that, more going to the whole that it automatically knows that you're not a robot based off of your mouse movements, based off of your IP address, and just how you use the web. The not necessarily the tinfoil hat people, but the everyday person would hear that Google can determine whether you're a person or not. How often you use your mouse, and it's like, oh, Google can see everything that I'm doing and stuff like that. Here's the thing. Here's what I want you all to know, that the ones that are watching right now and the ones that are listening to the show after the fact, Google and Apple and Firefox, Mozilla, and every website you go to knows where your mouse is. I'll let you know right now. When you go to lazytechguys.com, we have a tool that we can go back in and see what gets clicked on the most, and not only the things that get clicked on, just where your mouse is. We can see where your mouse is. We don't see like the track of your mouse. We just see where your mouse might be stagnant for a second or so. So we say, oh, you're hovering over that Rackspace icon for a little bit. Maybe you want to sign up for Rackspace. We don't care necessarily, but our advertising partners do. So it's just, Google is taking that advantage into this crypto method of determining if you are in fact a human or not. And so it's a technique in websites that everybody is using to date. So don't be scared, because it's not just Google using this, it's every website using this. They have to use it to optimize their website. Why do websites redesign their website? Because people get old and tired of how websites are. That's why Facebook redesigns Facebook all the time, because they want you to click other things, and they want to say, oh, they clicked that 300 times because they want to see refresh, or they want to see the pictures of whatever it is, So I think this is going to make the experience of not only on Google, but if other websites adopt this for the sign-up procedure, it's going to make it that much more amicable. And the question is it really going to make it harder for bots to beat the system or not? I don't know. I mean, that's the whole purpose. It's meant to beat bots, and it's meant to be smarter than bots, because bots these days, bots are getting better at scanning the image of the scanned image and recalibrating it and saying, oh yeah, that's a 13P F9G. That's what that is. And so I had one last point, and it eludes me at the moment. But yeah, so don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Just be you.
Hey, real fast, Google has shipped 500,000 cardboard VR units.
I'm not surprised. I mean, if you look at the amount of downloads on just the Cardboard app alone, it's a lot of like I said, it's not like Google is just sending these out for free. I mean, the only company that's sending them out for free is Volvo, and that's pretty much it. Everybody else you have to pay for. So people are forking $20, $30 for these things just to try it out. So if you've got that disposable income, or if you don't mind being signed up for Volvo Cars mailing lists, go do that and try it out. Like I said, it doesn't work on like really large phones. So you got like a Nexus 6 or a Note 4, it might be kind of out of luck. But any phone around the size of a Galaxy S5, you should be fine. Which is, if I'm not mistaken, is like a 5.3-inch display.
That's enough. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Well, that comes to the end of our show. We came into 1 minute under the time. Look at
1 minute. Woo! Yeah, Hercules.
All right. Within 1 minute, anything you want to say real fast before we cut it off?
Hit me up on Twitter, LTG Tony, or just find me on about.me/TeenNinja3000, or here on Google Plus at Tony Hannity's.
Same here, Sean P. Wilburn on Google Plus. You could also find my music as Sean Wilburn all over the world. And for you to go ahead and check it out, stream it, all that. Here's the deal. I am unlike all the other monthly. I want you to stream it as much as possible. If I make 5 cents off 7 million streams, that's 7 million people who listen to my music, and I hope you guys all enjoyed it. And buy it later. Anyway, so thank you. So go ahead and check that out if you can. Now, give you contact information for us. Comments at lazytechguys.com is a way you can email us. 707-722-5299 is our phone number. It is a group line, so it will go to all of us. You can find us on many social networks, including Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, if you look up Lazy Tech Guys. And on YouTube, our channel is Lazy Tech TV. That's where we keep that thing updated with all kind of new videos, reviews, and as well as video game stuff. So thank you again, everybody, for hanging out, Tony.
This was a different day. So if you like the show and you want to watch us live, we usually record on a Tuesday night. So Tuesday night, 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here in California. So just be aware of that. This was a kind of a, not impromptu, but it was a special show to kind of catch up.
Absolutely.
Next week we'll still have a show because it's not Christmas Eve yet, but we should still have a show. If I'm not like dead after this weekend's marathon.
We'll see you guys next week. Thank you again for hanging out with us. On behalf of all of LTG, well, you guys rock. You guys have a great day. And hey, we are out. See you later.
Peace.